And what you are gonna need is your plot mountain that you did last Wednesday, April 1st. It's under Google Classroom, Wednesday, April 1st, plot mountain. You chose a peer video and filled in the plot mountain. You are also gonna need your notes that you took. You took research notes on Monday, April 6th on your peer video. You took a topic and found a different article and started taking notes. And what we're gonna do is we are going to take these two pieces and put them together, forming a nice narrative nonfiction piece. And before we let out for school, you guys did that. You did it with the Triangle Factory fire about the young woman who was trapped in the building, and you highlighted the narrative in yellow and you highlighted the facts in green. You also did it for the Radium girls. When you read about how they were getting sick, you read their story and you highlighted it yellow, and then you highlighted their facts green. So you have a little bit of background knowledge. Today for part 1, I just want you to focus on introducing the setting and introducing the rising action of your peer video. You're gonna start to write it out. In the setting and rising action, I want you to add 1 to 2 of your research facts. And I'm gonna model that today. It's a draft, it's gonna be sloppy. I'll probably watch this video after and think, oh no, I forgot some parts. If you have any questions while you watch this, I recommend you write them down, so before you begin, you can WebEx text me and I'll get to that. So this is part 1, this is your goal. Now today I am going to model handwriting it because there's gonna be different drafts of it, and I want you to see the handwritten part. But when I'm done with my video lesson here, I will have a typed version for you to see as well. So I'm gonna go back and forth between paper and Google Doc. For you though, I definitely need you to type your draft because you're gonna constantly go to it with all the changes we're gonna make. The facts we're gonna add, the narrative imagery and sensory we're gonna add, the tension we're gonna add, even the nonfiction subtitles and pictures and captions. So there's a lot we're gonna add to it. You type it because you can then revise it. If you keep handwriting it, you're gonna have to rewrite everything over and over 5-6 times. So the peer video that I'm doing today is Miss Drager as my model for you. The topic was the CPR and the 2-year-old. And my source was, I think it's gonna be important for you to put your source. For now, I'll just put CPR for children, but I definitely will add the web link into my Google Doc draft. So I'm just gonna put CPR for children here, CPR for children. Now, the best way to start a story is to introduce the exposition or the setting. I have down home apartment, afternoon getting ready for work, Haley, grandmother, and 2-year-old boy. Now, I'm not gonna start my story by saying Haley was in her apartment, it was the afternoon, she was getting ready for work, it was her, the grandmother, and the boy. Because she wasn't with the grandmother and the boy. They come in later in the story. So I'm gonna introduce them later. So for now, I just wanna start with the setting, introduce to the reader who Haley is, what she's doing, and where she's at. So focus on this part first. And I'm just gonna write a story. I can always go back and change it. So here I'm gonna begin. It was a typical day for Haley getting ready for work with her summer job. or for her getting ready for work for her summer job. I can even do this. It's a draft. Now, but wait, in here, I don't have that it's summer. How do I know? I just remember from the video. I remember a lot more details from the video that I watched and that I didn't add on to my plot mountain here, and that's okay. It was a typical day for Haley getting ready for work for her summer job. She was a full-time teacher. But during the summer months, waitressing was her calling. This day was different, though. I'll put a period. As she was getting ready, I'm not even going to say that. As she was getting her apron and shirt uniform ready, she heard a scream that made the hair on her arms stand up. So what I want to show you, what I've done so far. She was in her apartment, she was getting ready for work. I have not talked about the grandmother, the two-year-old yet. I will introduce them later, but I have started to go into my rising action. And in my notes, I just put heard scream. Well, as a writer, I want to be visual, I want to be sensory, and that will be a lesson later, but in my modeling to you, I'm probably gonna add a lot of that figurative language as I'm writing. So this goes to show you, don't just write this in a sentence, this in a sentence, this and this and this. Add details around it. Make it a narrative, make it real. So Haley did hear the scream. As she was getting her apron and shirt uniform ready, she heard a scream that made the hair on her arms stand up. Now I'm just gonna turn the page. I could keep talking about that scream and what it sounded like, but I think that might be a checkpoint for when we go back and add figurative language. So right now I'm gonna go up to my second rising action. Haley went to her living room window looked both ways, and saw nothing. Could she have imagined it? Could she have imagined it? Maybe. Then it came again. Louder. Higher. More piercing to the ears. She rushed outside. I'm right here. I'm on my second one. She rushed outside. She rushed outside. And approached. A woman in panic. Now here, I could go in. I think I'm gonna do this. She heard a scream. She heard a woman in panic. I could probably write 5 more sentences on what that panic looked like, what it sounded like, what the woman was wearing, her features, but I'm gonna save that for an adding detail lesson later. The woman shouted, "My grandbaby." Haley looked in the back of the car. And saw a tiny figure with its head down. I'm gonna go up into here, grab child out of the car seat. She unlocked the car, swung open the door, and lifted the child out. Now, there was a lot more to the story here where I said it was hard to lift the boy out because he was so lifeless, but again, I'll save that for another. I am gonna go to my notes here because I know this is a good part from I kept, as I was writing my story right here, I kept referring back to my notes. Can I add something yet? Can I add something yet? And when I look at my notes, check to see if child is conscious, ask if child is okay, I know that this is a good point to add in my facts. So here, she unlocked the car, swung open the door, and lifted the child out. The child was not moving or crying. So here's my facts. Check to see if the child is conscious, ask if the child is okay. And I'm gonna put that in any emergency situation. An individual must check to see if a child is conscious or ask if the child is okay. And what I'm gonna do is, just for purpose sake, so I know that it's a fact, right now I'm gonna bracket in my fact that I wrote, just so we know that it's a fact. I would underline it, but that doesn't leave a lot of room to add details. I would highlight it, but I don't have any highlighters at my house right now. So I'm just gonna bracket to show you how I added in a fact. The second, and I'm gonna put an X here, saying, oh, I did that fact. The next fact is check breathing, place your ear near the child's mouth and nose. So here, I remember Haley quickly lied the boy, I'll have to go back to that, lied the boy on the back of the car. She checked to see if the child was breathing. And here's my notes. The next thing to do in CPR is to check breathing. Place your ear near the child's mouth and nose. So I'm going to say here, to check for breathing, an individual must place her ear near the child's mouth and nose. And just because I'm writing, I'm going to bracket it in to show you that it's a fact. In my Google Doc example, I'll have it highlighted for you. Haley felt nothing. And I think I'm going to stop there today before this video